Hi, this is Darlene with the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority, also known as Salinas Valley Recycles. We manage waste in the eastern portion of Monterey County and operate 3 facilities to serve our 270,000 residents. Check out our presentation titled "What Can We Do For You?" to learn more. In this segment, we will be learning about the difference between waste and resources. If you watched the intro video, then you know that in the Salinas Valley, when you throw trash away, it ends up at our Johnson Canyon landfill. And that in 2019, we buried 226,386 tons of garbage, which is roughly 5 pounds or a backpack full of garbage per person per day. If we want to reduce the amount of trash we send to the landfill, then we must first know what is considered waste. So what is waste? Waste is a material that is not wanted, the unusable remains or byproducts of something. The graphic you see here illustrates the main types of waste generated. It is estimated that the world generates over 2 billion tons of garbage annually. Unless we start taking action soon, global waste will just continue to increase. Our latest trash study, also known as our Waste Characterization Report, breaks down data about what is in our local waste stream. As you can see here, a majority of what we throw away could be recovered and repurposed. Now that we defined waste, let's also see what is a resource. A resource is defined as a source of supply, support, or aid, especially one that can be readily drawn upon when needed. We measure our success in managing waste by how much we recover or divert from the landfill. We call this resource recovery. If we look into the hierarchy of preferred solid waste management, you can see that at the very top as the most preferred is source reduction. Then we have reuse, followed by recycling and composting, and the last step is landfill and waste to energy as the least preferred. Thinking about our waste study, remember, a lot of what is destined for the landfill could be recovered. So when you're ready to dispose, consider first, is it a waste or can it be recovered to use as a resource? Let's look at some examples and you guess if it should be a waste going to the landfill or not. Are you ready? Can food be recovered or is it a waste? Food is a recoverable resource. It should first be eaten. Only take what you will eat. If leftover food cannot be shared or is non-edible parts like a banana peel, it can still be recovered. How, you may ask? Well, when properly composted at home or separated and picked up by the waste hauler, food scraps are recycled into rich compost to replenish our agricultural fields of much-needed nutrients. For more ideas, you can also go to savethefood.com, where you will find recipes, tools, and guides to help store food longer. Can you guess if textiles can be recovered or if they are a waste? They are a recoverable resource. When your clothing, footwear, household textiles, and accessories are out of style, worn, torn, stained, or just no longer useful, donate or recycle them. It's really that easy. The infographics you see here show some suggestions and some statistics on textile recycling and waste. Take a few minutes to review. Did you know that clothing and textile recycling can have a major impact on reducing greenhouse gases? Well, it's true. Approximately 2 million tons of textiles are recycled in the US every year. That is equivalent to removing about 1 million cars from America's highways. Here are 9 ways you can reduce textile waste. The first one, of course, is to buy less items of clothing in the first place. Next, you can repurpose textiles and make them into new things such as towels, art projects, or even bags. Another step that many people already do is to donate. In 2019, the clothing collection bins at Salinas Valley Recycles facilities collected and donated over 38,000 pounds of clothing and shoes. That's 19 tons of material that didn't enter the landfill. You can eliminate unnecessary shopping holidays. And when you wash, make sure you wash with a gentle or eco-friendly detergent to decrease the chance of breaking down textiles. You can also limit yourself to a certain amount of clothing. If you can, purchase eco-friendly textiles as often as possible. You can also swap and share clothing with siblings and friends. And lastly, it is important to not only donate, but to also close the loop and buy used items whenever you can, from thrift stores or garage sales. What about electronics? Electronics are a recoverable resource. Electronic waste, also known as e-waste, is the fastest growing municipal solid waste stream in the U.S. E-waste represents 2% of America's trash in landfills, but it equals 70% of overall toxic waste. In 2019, Salinas Valley Recycles facilities recycled over 450,000 pounds of e-waste. That's 225 tons of material that didn't enter the landfill. I'll give you a few minutes to look over this infographic. You can see how much e-waste is generated, the value of recycling and extracting these precious metals, some of the toxic chemicals found in e-waste, and the body parts that they affect, as well as how e-waste is processed. Do you consider single-use plastics as a resource or a waste? Single-use plastics are a waste. Single-use plastics are typically low-grade and not recyclable. These items are things like plastic bags, straws, coffee stirrers, and most food packaging. These plastic items are petroleum-based and not biodegradable. They can end up in landfills where they are buried or enter waterways and oceans. Rather than disappearing from our environment, they instead will break down into tiny particles after many years. As they do this, they release toxic chemicals, which then make their way into our food and water supply. Here are some examples of single-use plastics that many of you use every day when you're at school. It is estimated that one student will use close to 5,000 spork sets from kindergarten to graduation. In Monterey County, about 28 million single-use sporks and straws are sent to the landfill from all students every year. This is why we encourage schools and school districts to switch to reusables. There are plenty of reusable alternatives to replace trays, sporks, straws, and containers. What about rigid plastics? Are they recoverable or a waste? Unlike single-use plastics, rigid plastics are recoverable. These are the plastics numbered 1, 2, and 5, which are typically higher grade and can be recycled. Be sure to check your local requirements, as they do change depending on what your nearest processing facility accepts. What about hazardous items? Some items are a recoverable resource, for example, paint or batteries, while other items are waste, such as needles. However, it is not safe to mix any of these items with regular trash. Unwanted household products labeled as flammable, toxic, corrosive, or reactive should be properly disposed to prevent harm to humans and the environment. Last one, can you tell me if bulky items can be recovered or if they are a waste? This one can be a little tricky, because if any of these items are in good reusable condition, they are a recoverable resource. Please consider donation to a local reuse business or charitable organization. When these items are not in good condition and cannot be recycled or reused, they are waste. However, these materials are not collected through your curbside or apartment recycling program and require special drop-off or pickup arrangements. Let's be more mindful about the things we throw away in the trash. Think about what you wasted today. You can see here some examples of organic and inorganic materials that are slowly breaking down. The next time you consume something, think about the long-term effect and use only the things you need. Please be a wise consumer. If you do not know if a material is recyclable, we have an app called What Goes Where. You can download the app or visit the website. Type your zip code along with the name of your item, and it will give you the appropriate disposal solution. You can also find a recycling challenge game. You're probably familiar with the term reduce, reuse, recycle. But here are some other R's to add to your vocabulary. Today we covered rethink, refuse, and rebuy. And in future topics, we will cover rot. So remember these R's and close the loop. For more questions or information, you can contact Salinas Valley Recycles or your local hauler. In Monterey County, we have 3: Republic Services, Waste Management, or Tri-Cities Disposal and Recycling. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you check out the other presentations in our series. And don't forget to follow us on social media.